All right. Welcome back. We're going to be doing interviews for the next couple of days with our Unleashing authors. So actually, I should grab the book because I laid it down. A whole box of books behind me. Our book, Unleashing Your Soul Level Magic, is coming out today. And we have a special going on today for 99 cents for the ebook. And I will put that link in the comments when we're done. But right now, we're doing another interview with one of our amazing authors. This is Priscilla Green, and she wrote one of the chapters in the book. So welcome, Priscilla.
Thank you. So glad to be here with you today.
I'm glad you could join me. So I wanted to, first of all, in case you missed the first couple interviews, I'm Corey Walmsley, CEO of Aurora Coriolis Publishing, and I was the lucky person who got to coach and publish for the book Unleashing Your Soul Level Magic. It's a collection of 12 stories, and Priscilla's is one of them. They all talk about how they've overcome a challenge and seen amazing growth, harnessed one of their inner gifts and been able to, be the best selves. So I think that that's an amazing collection of stories to be able to put out to the world. I'm very honored that I got to do that. So I want to turn it over to Priscilla and let her tell us a little bit about herself and what she does.
Thank you so much. So I'm Priscilla Green. I live in the Pittsburgh area, just north of the city, with my husband, and I have 3 kids. And I am an online business manager. So I work with women entrepreneurs and business owners and help them with the back ends of their business. Anything from helping them strategize, how they can make some changes in their business to, handling their email management, calendar management, all of the back end stuff that most people don't see. I am so happy to be one of the authors. And I have to say that I have been reading the different stories and chapters myself, and I have cried, I have laughed, I have felt just the power behind the stories. So it's really, really great to be involved with this.
Thank you. I'm glad that you had a great experience with it too. I know I've said several times that I have laughed and cried like reading the book because it's so relatable and so real. Like everybody did such a wonderful job diving in and just opening up their hearts and telling their stories. So yeah, lots of fun.
Yes. Yes.
So Priscilla, I was wondering what inspired you to join us for Unleashing?
Yeah. So I think whenever I first reached out to you, I said that I kept seeing, posts and things about you doing this book. And I was like, oh, I don't know. That would be crazy if I would, sign on to do that. That's just weird. Who am I to be an author? What story do I have to tell? So I put it aside in my mind, and then I just kept seeing it. And I just felt so called to do it. And I think a big part of it is that I don't necessarily think that I have this big, profound event that happened. Some of the other authors, there are some really profound events that happened in their lives that they talk about. And I feel like mine is a little bit more, it can happen to anyone. It might be a little bit more relatable to some people. And I just felt like called to share my story with others that may have a very similar experience in their life, in their business, that they could kind of read my words and really feel, oh, I've been there. I understand what that feels like. I know what that feels like. And so I filled out that application. I was shaking. I was ready. I think I even emailed you and said, I'm ready to throw up. I'm so glad I did it. I'm so glad I did it.
Yeah, I am too. I think you shared a really important story. And I want to talk about that. But first of all, I want to go back to the part where you want to throw up. That wasn't because you were reaching out to me as a stranger. I've known you for years.
Yeah.
And it's still intimidating to step into a new place and to try something new. It's still scary. And
Yeah.
I know I still do scary things in the writing realm too. Like you're not alone. There are things that I've had to do and be like, oh my God, I'm about to do this. Like how many books have I launched this year? Oh my God, I'm going to launch this book. So I feel like that is such a relatable thing in itself, to be able to step into something new and say, this is scary and it's okay, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah. I think so too. And that's a good point. You saying, like, I've known you for years, and it wasn't, that I was reaching out to you. It was this huge, revelation that, oh my gosh, I could possibly be a published author. That's just wild. And today I'm like, I'm a published author. So, yeah, the excitement has way overshadowed that moment of wanting to throw up.
I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like that you focused on your career story, because, that's something that we, normally, people for like a little snippet of their career, maybe you work together for a short amount of time and they change paths, or you change paths. But, I've known you and we've worked together. Priscilla helps me with my back end. A lot going on back there. So, this is something that you've been doing with me for several years. So I know you from that perspective, but I know some of the behind the scenes there. There's always something else that happened beforehand. There's always something else, that growth moment that's going on that, you're not telling your clients, like, by the way, I'm over here like growing right now, so I'm going to answer emails later. Like nobody's doing that.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about, some of those major aha moments that you had in your career?
Yeah. My background, I was coming from a job where I was a personal assistant for a business owner. And so my background was being someone's assistant, and even going back in my story to, I was someone's daughter, I was someone's sister, I was then someone's girlfriend, wife, mother. It almost was like I didn't have like my own identity. And so going into business was scary, because I was like, oh my gosh, this is like my thing. This is something that I'm doing for me, in the big picture for my family as well, but for me is a huge part of it. And then I was growing. I was afraid to allow people to see that I had this business, because who am I to have this business? I'm just a regular gal from a small town. And, who am I to be this business owner? Seeing other people succeed and living that dream life that I had wanted for so long. It felt almost unreal for me to have that be my reality. And then as I was growing, it's just like that scared piece of me that didn't want to be seen. But then growing in a way that was one of the things that I realized in that moment was, oh my gosh, people don't know what I'm doing because I'm not talking about it. And why wouldn't I be talking about it? I'm so proud of myself for the things that I'm doing and how far I've come, and going full time into business and jumping with both feet in. It's a huge thing. It's a big accomplishment in itself. So I think that was one of the things was, realizing that it was okay for me to let other people know what I was doing and that I was successful, that I was doing the thing that I had only dreamed of doing.
Yeah, I think those are all really important revelations. And I think part of that is, we're not taught to, make sure we celebrate all our little wins, because even a little win is a win. So, we're growing up and like being like, okay, I got to keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And I don't think that there is enough of a pause to be like, oh, wow, look at what I accomplished. And I think that's one of the nice things about being able to write a chapter about, your career path to this point is you got to stop and say, wow, I did this and I did this and I did this. And, 10 years ago, me wouldn't even know today me.
Yeah, I think, the writing process was just It was crazy. Even though I was speaking the words, I was writing the words, it was crazy to read it back and see that unfolding of where I started to where I am. I was like, oh my gosh, there is so much to be celebrated. And it was like, to me, I was like, oh, this is like taboo to be celebrating these moments and these things. But no, I should be shouting it from the rooftops, that I'm doing these things.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's funny too. I keep thinking about this quote. It's attributed to Will Smith, but like many things on the internet, it could have been said by anybody. And it's something to do with, I knew I was an A-list actor before anyone else knew I was an A-list actor. And I think a lot of times we don't even realize where we're going. We're just here like, I'm just gonna keep doing the next step forward. And pretty soon, like, hey, you're an A-list actor. Like you didn't even realize it. So I think it's funny looking at it from that other perspective where like you're not even sure what is possible, but you're going to keep reaching.
Yeah. Yeah. To emerge like as a leader and an expert at what I do, I was like, whoa, whoa, like I'm on a podcast episode. What?
Yeah.
Only really smart and savvy people are on, on this show. So, like those types of things, those little revelations, like, wow, no. And I'm smart and I'm brilliant and I'm an expert and I'm supposed to be here. So
yeah, I love that. And I think that's funny too, when you're like, wait a second, smart and savvy people. Is that me now? Is that
yeah, my brother and I have a running joke. He's always like, yeah, sometimes I wake up and I can't believe like I'm an adult with children. Same thing for business owners.
I think we've all had moments like that.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you too about this, because this is something that you had actually said, is this something that I should include? Is this okay? Do you like how I'm saying it? When you're talking about how supportive your husband is. And I know sometimes it sounds really cheesy, but I think it's important to put that stuff in there so other people can see like, yeah, you should be supporting your significant other. You should be supporting your friends. Can you tell me a little bit about how Chuck was able to support you when you were in that, like, oh my gosh, should I do this? What am I doing?
Yeah. Yeah. So I did, I was like, is this too cheesy? But from the very beginning, so when I first started, I was doing, this virtual assistance on the side as I was working full time. And so when I started thinking like, oh, I'm getting more clients, I'm getting busier, my hours were reduced at my job. And I was like, I don't know. I think like maybe I'll just quit my job and go full time in this, and just do it. And my husband was like, why wouldn't you? You're smart. You are doing it. You can totally do this. He really encouraged me to just go for it because he knew before I did that I was totally capable of doing this. And even along the way, there's setbacks. There's hills and valleys in business. And each time I have that freak out moment, like, oh my gosh, this is happening or this didn't happen. He's like, it's okay. This has happened before and you bounced right back and things worked out and you're going to do it again. So stop freaking out. You've got this and you're doing great. You're doing amazing. Look at all the things that you've done. And so it's so important to have that support behind me in those moments where I am freaking out or I'm feeling like maybe I'm not doing as much as I could be doing. He's there to remind me that I am.
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's important to the reader also to recognize, like, normally we are sitting here going, oh my God, they're judging me. They're judging me. They're saying I'm not enough. They're saying I'm not doing well or, whatever. And then, oh yeah, I almost forgot. Like there's somebody right beside me who's like, I know you can do it and you've already done it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have that rein in.
Yeah, I know sometimes I talk about like business way too much. And then he's like, okay, we're talking about this again. But he is my sounding board and my cheerleader and supporter and the guy that gets to listen to all of my business things. And I run ideas by him just to, see what he says. And he's like, well, you know what you're doing. So do the thing.
Awesome. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
So I, kind of wrapping this up a little bit. I was wondering what kind of challenges you had as you were working on this story, because, this is, your personal growth going clear through your career.
Yeah. I think some of the challenges were realizing the big moments that helped change the trajectory of my business and of my personal growth. Just kind of noting like, oh, I actually forgot about that moment. I kind of put it in the back of my mind and then realized, oh no, that was a big moment. And that was a turning point in my business and personal growth journey. And then just, kind of knowing what to include again, like what's cheesy, what isn't cheesy, is this too much? Should I be sharing about this? But I think that with the challenge, honestly, I think it was actually easier than I thought it would be. Once I started getting going, I started my chapter and then I kind of put it to the wayside. I was like, I don't even know what I'm going to say next. Like, I don't know what I'm going to say next. And then, with your coaching, you had a suggestion. And I took that suggestion and I just went with it. And next thing I knew, my chapter was done. And I was like, oh, okay. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. And I probably could have kept going.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
You had mentioned that after that, we did group sessions for this book. We did 3 monthly sessions. And after that one session, you were like, hey, I'm actually done.
Yeah. It was, yeah. I mean, I attribute that to your coaching because you really made it so easy for me to write my chapter, giving me the framework. So,
well, thank you.
Yeah.
And I will turn that around though and say it was already all inside of you. So
yeah. Who knew?
Right thing to say.
Yeah.
Which is what a coach's job is.
Yep.
So, I did have one last question. So if you were talking to somebody who was thinking about like, oh, do I want to share my career story? What would you tell them about the experience?
It was such a great experience to look back on and see where I started, see the challenges I had, how I overcame those challenges, and then to see where I am now. Because I think, like I said, I think you get within the day to day, month to month, you lose sight of all those moments and all those small achievements, and you don't get to celebrate them necessarily in the moment because you're moving. So I think it's important to, take a look at everything that you've done and celebrate yourself. And I think that I honestly, even if they're not writing a book or a chapter, to sit down and write your story, because there's moments in there that you are going to look back on and laugh or cry or both, and really feel proud of yourself. Because I know that that's what came out of my chapter, was really feeling so proud of myself.
That's awesome. I love that. And I do think that's an important thing for everybody to just pause and recognize like, hey, I have come so far.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So I did want to say one more time, shameless plug for the book that we're plugging. Unleashing Your Soul Level Magic is coming out today. This is we're doing a special to celebrate the launch. So it's 99 cents for the ebook today. You can get a copy of it by clicking the link that I'm going to put in the comments after we hop off. And Priscilla, where can we find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram. My page is Freedom to Focus Business Support. And then also as Priscilla Green. And I would love to connect with people. And you can find me also my website, freedomtofocusbusinesssupport.net.
Awesome. And I'm going to have you pop into the comments and put that stuff in there as well. So if anybody wants to connect with Priscilla, you can do that way. If you have questions for us, of course, comment. We're happy to answer them. Make sure you get a copy of this book today because it's not going to be around forever. at least not for that price. You will be able to get it forever though, but not for that price. So thank you, Priscilla, for joining me today. I really appreciate being able to chat with you. I know usually we chat via email, so this is thing for us.
Yeah, this is a nice treat.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you for joining us, and I hope everybody grabs a copy of the book and has an amazing day.